All right, you want to count us down?
Okay.
Are you ready?
Okay. I don't. Why did I think to start from 10?
Just
Okay.
start from 10.
Start from 20.
Start from 100,
30.
actually. Do you
Okay.
mind starting from 100?
1,000.
Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Here, you want to do that?
Oh, sorry.
Welcome to Vibing This, the podcast where we give exposure to up-and-coming artists and demystify the music industry. I'm your host, Robin. I'm joined by my co-host today, Brian.
Yeah.
And today we have on our beautiful artist, Mazie.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome, Mazie. We're so excited to chat with you. So for everyone out there, Mazie is fantastic. Her music, it would be described as like psychedelic, pop, girly pop, not quite hyper pop, but maybe like indie.
Yeah.
Is that like a good mix of genres?
That all sounds great.
Okay, fantastic. She's most well known for, you might know her for her song Dum Dum. It went super viral on TikTok, and it was featured in a Netflix movie called Do Revenge, which I think has like Maya Hawke and
Yes.
like, what's her name? Like Camila something.
Yes, Mendez.
Yeah, Camila Mendez. Kind of like all those like up and coming actors from like Riverdale and like Stranger Things and who are like making it on the scene. And it also was featured in a Super Bowl commercial for Uber Eats.
Yep.
So it's really taken off. But she also has an album that she released in 2023 called Blotter Baby.
Yes.
And all the songs on that are fantastic. So that's just like some little background for you guys. But honestly, let's talk about Dum Dum because that went like crazy viral.
It did.
Probably most people watching this podcast have heard it or know it, honestly. Like, how did that happen for you? How did that take off?
It was insane. Definitely a culmination of a lot of just like really good fortune around the moment itself, but then also a lot of preparation. We knew that we were getting like the Do Revenge sync a long time before the movie was even like kind of in the media. And as like the last season of Stranger Things wrapped, we saw just sort of the hype around Maya Hawke, the hype around just like her next steps with Netflix. And so the closer we got, we just decided to put a lot of momentum behind like really focused content around just like my face, the song, and Do Revenge. And so if you like go back on my socials, it's just all like, oh my god, this movie is coming out, my song is in it, and just like really like trying to get people to mentally correlate me with the movie. And it worked. And then like literally the week before the trailer dropped, they called us and they were like, we're gonna give you guys the trailer. So that's like what really sent it over, is that it was the song in the trailer, and there was so much hype around the trailer itself. So yeah, it was really, really crazy.
Oh my God. So wait, did the song go viral because of the movie or was it already
100%.
viral?
No, it was definitely viral because of the movie. It was so hand in hand with the release of the movie, and then we saw it immediately trending on Shazam. So just like, which is crazy to me. I cannot believe that people Shazam stuff while they're watching a movie.
Yeah.
But they do a lot. A lot of people do it.
I would totally do that. I've definitely done that in the past.
That's so awesome. I mean, it changes lives. So that's amazing. Honestly, shout out to the fan edit community on TikTok because they make or break music on that platform. And yeah, just the fan edits around Maya Hawke and Camila Mendez and all that kind of stuff with Dum Dum in the background, it just like sent it.
Oh my gosh. I honestly didn't realize that it was correlated with the movie so much.
Yes.
I totally thought it independently went viral on TikTok first.
No.
And then it got picked up because of that, because I discovered that song via TikTok. And so I was like, oh, like it just got viral on TikTok and then they used it for the movie, not the other way around.
Yeah.
Which is honestly really interesting and really shows you the power of like syncing.
It's insane. The power of sync is everything.
What was that process for literally using the song in the film? Like, you already had made the song, or were you making it for the film, or like what
Not
happened
at all.
there?
Yeah, we just made the song. We love the song so much. That was always like such a big one for us. Like in the studio, it felt amazing, and it just had so much hype for us. And it had like a good like life for the year it existed before the movie came out. It was maybe even longer than a year. So she's just kind of been out in the world, and people liked it, and all that good stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Someone just there was a music director who just heard it and heard my stuff and was trying to find a way to place my music. And so I owe so much to him because he fully changed my life. So yeah, I don't know. He just wanted to use the song and he did.
We actually chatted with an artist yesterday who sort of explained the concept of syncing for the audience out there. And definitely correct me if I'm wrong, but it's basically the idea that like you create music and then you work with a publisher who then gives you the contacts for things like movies, advertising, like, I don't know, any other platform where you can be making money selling your music.
Yeah.
And then it's used in those platforms and the artists get paid out for the use of that music.
That's definitely a side of it. A lot of people can do like, I don't know, I refer to it as like a brief culture where it's like there are commercials or films or and just general media sources that need music and they want exclusive music for it. So they send out these briefs and these descriptions that you were talking about and people like pitch to it and then they cut the song and they pay you for the song. And then there's the other side to sync where just huge media houses will pay artists for music that's already out and place it in the film. So there's like two sides of it, but sync pays really well. So it's great on either side. Really recommend.
I guess we'll start from the beginning of like how you maybe found your label at the time or like your manager at the time that helped you get this sort of deal and do this sync.
Yeah, well, my label situation is like pretty unique, I would say. I feel like I've just been with this label from just my birth, it feels, just because it's my producer Eli's label. I've been like working with and known Eli for the last 10 years of my life. We were neighbors back in Baltimore, so we've just been around each other for a long time. He had always wanted to start a record label, and so that was just always in the periphery. And then he has an amazing manager, John, who then they just decided to really go after the label and do it together. And they built that from the ground up. I was like the first artist signed there. Then the pandemic happened in my junior year of college. So it was like 2020, online class was happening. We were just kind of stranded in Philly, living on campus. And just, I don't know, we decided to release No Friends in the pandemic and it just opened so many doors and school just didn't make a lot of sense anymore. And then Ely was like, I think I'm thinking of moving to LA. And I was like, well, I've got nothing going on here, so I'm down to move to LA. And then literally 15 friends of ours moved to LA.
Wow.
And so it's just
That's
this
so sick.
like mass migration of just because all of my friends do music, so, and have always done music, and that's just always been like our little crew. So yeah, we dipped in August of 2020, which is crazy in hindsight to think about moving before like the vaccine even came out. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, the world was so confusing. So yeah, we're here and we've been here for 4 years, almost 5.
You and I kind of were talking about this before, but like with the label, you said it's like, you mentioned to me earlier that it's backed by someone else and then backed by Universal. Like
Yes.
it has like a lot of like big dogs that kind of like help it out. How does that process work, or like how did that come to be?
Yeah, so as the label was growing and we were doing more releases independently, you definitely just need just like a bigger ecosystem to back into in the music industry. They're just, I don't know, it's just such a massive industry and you need so many people who have been working for a long time to really help you. So Virgin signed Good Boy to their ecosystem. I like also just kind of owe my life to Virgin. They are incredible. The team there is just so organic and kind, and they really are like very individually invested in every artist that they're signing. I don't know. I can't speak more highly of them. They are really, really special. And then Virgin is backed by Universal. So yeah, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But we really saw the benefit of that because, you know, Universal is like a totally neutral partner for the most part when you're a small artist. But as soon as Dum Dum started having like momentum, then Universal was able to come in and just like give so many more resources to help it grow when it needed it the most. So yeah, kind of the best of both worlds, having a really intimate label experience with just some really, really big dogs behind it.
We were talking about this before too, but that like sometimes that relationship can be like a difficult thing for artists to navigate, like joining labels and like getting these contracts. But it sounds like you personally have had a really good experience with it. What are some things, if you were to give artists out there, like advice that like people should be kind of like looking out for when signing to a label?
Yeah, I would say take the smaller advance, which might be like a controversial thing to say, but I think the practice of an artist signing to a label is usually inherently really predatory, and labels are going to try and bury you in a lot of debt. When you're signing to a label, the income is awesome, but you're taking a loan out against yourself. Every dollar they spend on you is a dollar you need to buy back for yourself.
Whoa.
So, yeah, so I think like the beauty of Good Boy is that it took, the people running that label to be like, we're going to make really, really realistic investments into just like the size of the artist that you are now, with the hopes that you'll triple, what we're investing in you right now, but you're going to be able to recoup. And I did recoup my deal. And so I feel like I'm in such a small bracket of artists who has recouped on their record deal, and the benefit of that, I just like, oh my god, the benefit of having recouped masters and also ownership of your masters is probably the most important thing you could possibly do as an artist. Your income streams are already so limited as it is. Like, people are really, really quick to give away ownership of their masters because sometimes you get offered like a $1.5 million deal out of like nowhere, and you're just like, oh my god, this is like conceptually the most amount of money I could ever possibly fathom. It's not. And if things go well, you will make so much more than that in the long run by taking less upfront and licensing your masters. Trust. Sorry, I feel like I went on a whole thing there.
No, that's honestly so interesting and so insightful. Like, I mean, I think a big part of this podcast that I mentioned to you before is like demystifying the music industry and like giving people who are going to be listening to this advice or just like educating people about it. And so this is like insider knowledge to think about it in this way, because honestly, up front, it just sounds amazing to be like, oh, I'm going to get a $1.5 million to create my music. But the reality is that's like actually more of a loan. So what happens then if like you don't recoup that? Like, let's say that like you put out your music, like you don't get the amount of plays, or you're not getting the tours, or like whatever the case may be, like you're not making up that. Like, do you owe the label that money?
I mean, you'll just be in debt to them forever, essentially. And so like how shelving works, and like the classic story of like, oh, I was picked up by a major label, or I'm in a major system, and then all of a sudden I'm not releasing music anymore, they put my project away, I can't release music anymore, usually happens when those situations are happening. You're not making money fast enough, and that's what they're in the business to do. Like, not even being emotionally tied to that, like they're investing a lot of money to see a lot of capital back really, really quickly, and if you're not keeping up with that or able to maintain that, you're not going to be able to keep releasing music.
So when you say shelving, it just means that like they literally won't put out your music anymore because they
Correct.
don't think that it'll make the money that it needs.
Correct. And they've just already put too much up front now that it's just not enough to make back what they've already invested. Yeah, it's scary. It's a super scary. It's a lot of people get lost in that. And again, because I don't know, when you're in music, you don't make money at all. And so that first check that comes your way is life-changing for everyone. But it just ends up kind of being so damaging in the long run for most people.
So I guess there's a huge benefit to being independent then, in the sense that you're not taking money from a label.
Yes and no, because even that, like, you need capital behind you to be successful. Like, there is no artist being successful right now that doesn't have a large amount of money behind them. And large being like, that could be $10,000, which is just like proportionate to the size of that artist, and that's a large amount, or it could be millions of dollars. But there is, so it's such it's a really delicate balance to be able to like assess yourself in a way that's like, okay, this is enough to push me into the future, and this is enough capital that I can, invest in music videos, I can invest in the marketing, I can invest in the recording, that's not going to put me into debt that will actually inhibit me from growing in the future. So yeah, it's just a really fine balance, because I don't want to demonize labels, because you need a label to be able to function, and I don't want to demonize independence, because there are some people who can do it, it's just way more rare. So I don't know, it's such a fine line to walk. It's hard.
Do you need the label to do these syncs?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I'm rarely would a magical sync just happen. That then you're just kind of like leaving it up to a music director on a film or a show who just like has really good taste and is like has their ear to the ground and is very current. But I would say like 90% of the stuff that's getting sent to music directors to be placed is people inside of a building advocating for you, saying, listen to this, listen to this, listen to this. I think this is going to be so good for this. So yeah, you definitely need someone to push that.
Honestly, this is also making me think a lot about like the concept of virality, and how I think being viral, like being viral on TikTok or like on Instagram, wherever it is, it comes across as so organic.
Yeah.
But now now with this whole conversation, I'm like, how much of this is actually organic? And like
Yeah.
how much of it is like the music industry being like, push this because like we want you to get picked up, or like we want people to use your stuff? Or is it like the other way around where like that's how they're finding these artists?
It's totally both. It's all of the above. A lot of times it is completely organic in the beginning. Like someone just has like the luckiest just time of their life and their
Yeah.
song just hits in the right way. But when it has sustained momentum, 100% there is money propelling that and backing that. And again, not in a demonized way or anything like that. It's just, it just is how it goes.
I feel like it all comes across as very organic. Because
Yeah.
it's just like, because music is like one of those things that you're like, oh, I just found it and I listened to it, and now it's like an emotional experience to listen to it. So it feels like it's one of those things where like, oh, this is just like happening to me, but it's actually like really methodical and really thought out and really, I mean, it's a business.
Absolutely.
It's an
You
industry
get
for a
that
reason.
Discovery Weekly playlist, and
Yes.
you're like, wow, it's just they just
They
know
just
me.
know me.
It's just a twist of fate, it's magic.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I mean, I feel
they got
like
you figured out.
100%. I feel like great artistry is genuinely the culmination of like being able to bring almost like a business-like mindset to the creative process, bringing a lot of intention. Maybe it's not business, but a lot of intention about like what is the sound, what is the world, what is the project. Because I don't know, I forget how and what I was trying to say, but yeah, I feel like great artistry brings a lot of consideration to just like how it's going to be publicly facing and how it's going to move and how it's going to market and what the identity is there.
I was just gonna say, like, just switching from the label's perspective and all of that stuff. I'm a little curious about your musical upbringing, and
Yeah.
like Robin said, I guess if we had to, describe your music and put it in a box, maybe indie pop with some touch of psychedelic,
Yeah.
rock in there would be cool. But there's so much tasteful harmony and melody and sort of kind of really cool, like, I guess, musical acrobatics that I'm curious about what your upbringing is, what your training is, and yeah, how did you get started?
It's really started a lot in church, which I feel like it does for so many people. Like, grew up in a very, very religious household, so I was in church all the time. I was in Catholic school, like K through 12, so just a lot of that. So much choir, but mainly I would say like my primary background was when I was 10, I started doing like classical voice. So I did just opera, just formal classical training from the ages of 10 to 18. And in that started doing a lot of just like formal jazz training as well, which is where I feel like a lot of my like ear developed, especially with like melody and all that kind of stuff through a lot of jazz. But yeah, tons of classical voice, tons of performance-based stuff in like the classical space. And just growing up in just a very religious environment, just very like sonically sheltered for most of my life. Like I would say like my true first love was like One Direction. So that's like where I was kind of existing for a long time. And then when I was 18 and I went to college for the first time and tried all of these psychedelics and met all of these amazing people, like, I don't know, my taste just like exploded. Yeah, and so just like that's where just I think so much of like the sonics that are mirrored in the project come in. For sure. And yeah, of course, I have to give credit to Ely, my producer. Just, that was outside of just like a long-standing friendship. He, as a creative, is unbelievable. He's my producer. I don't produce my music. So like his taste and my taste being able to align and just like I just really love him so much. I feel he is a genius. And yeah, he just really brings so much life behind the project and is really able to take my identity and my relationship to these things and just put it in the songs. It's crazy.
So
Wait,
what does it look like when you guys work together? Do you come in and you bring in a sort of fleshed out song? Do you come in and bring an idea? Do you guys build everything from scratch?
I would say it's a lot of from scratch. It has changed a lot, honestly, in the last couple years. Like, making the album was really, really stressful for both of us. That was like, it's really stressful to make an
I'm sure
album.
it sounds stressful.
With the album, it was like so much discussion constantly all the time about just like what is the sonic identity, where are we going, and it was a lot of just being like, okay, what are we experimenting with. It was like really trying to push the writing behind the project, because I feel like really trying to be like songwriters on that and demonstrate that there's like something there. And just also using my voice in a ton of different ways. I don't know, it's a lot of way more conversational experimenting, and then the process usually starts. There's a lot of like premeditated ideas before, I would say.
That's so cool. And then you just sort of kind of, come closer to one point of like, okay, this is what it's going to look like.
100%.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. I was wondering, like, because I feel like the album goes through a few different kind of unique different styles. And, there's some stuff that sounds like it's maybe more Pink Floyd,
Yeah.
Beatles sort of like 60s influenced. And then there's one song that sounds almost like kind of disco influenced. And are those things, talking about like style,
Yeah.
were those sort of premeditated discussions, or was it kind of just, we're going to try a couple things and see what happens?
Definitely premeditated discussions, 100%. Absolutely. It's because I think we had so many moments of going back and forth between being like, oh, does this need to be like ultra cohesive in this type of way? Do we need to make like the same song 12 times? And then it just sort of came down to feeling like, I feel like Mazie as a project can do a lot. I feel like it is really a versatile artist project, and so for Ely, he just was like, let's just do it all then, and that's kind of what happened on the album. So I don't know if that made sense, but
That made sense, yeah. And I feel like when you make a project like that, if you're singing and you have like the same voice and you have sort of the same kind of recording setup, and just it's all happening from the same place, like
Right.
there is an inherent cohesion that allows you to do different styles. Like it doesn't have to be all the same.
I love that. That definitely relieves my anxiety a lot to hear that.
It sounds quite cohesive, I would say.
Awesome. Woo.
The one thing I wanted to ask you is, like, you touched on this before. There's a difference between someone who just like makes good music and then someone who's like created an entire world for you.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about like Sgt. Pepper's. Like Sgt. Pepper's is a world.
Such a world.
Or like Chapel Roan's like Midwestern Princess, that's a world.
100%.
And that's a persona. Like, and I think you're doing that. I think that Lauder Baby is a world. Do you feel like you're, with the intention of making your music, like, are you trying to do this concept of making worlds, or trying to think about it as a cohesive thing like that?
100%. I would say that's like probably the number one driving force in the studio all the time. Just around every single project. Yeah, absolutely, yes. I think it is the most important thing when you're an artist, is to be, to me that is what artistry is just like the long-term projection of what the songs themselves are going to be like, on not only just on the record, but just how they're going to live visually, how they're going to live as you like market it in your content. Like, yeah, just that process to me is just the total embodiment of artistry, is having that like cohesion and having the world. Because otherwise it's just songs. And that's awesome too. Like, there can just be great songs in the world, but I think to be an artist is that whole collective practice for sure.
Did you have a clear vision of that when you started making your music?
Absolutely not. And it changes all the time now. Like, from what the new stuff has started to sound like to what the album sounds like to what the EP sounded like, it's all, to me, it feels really different.
Earlier when you were saying that you grew up like religiously and you did like a lot of your music in the church, and then your whole album's like kind of about psychedelics. I don't know your family background or anything, but I feel like that must have been a big transition for them to like raise you in the church and then be like, why is my daughter making music about psychedelics now? What happened?
It was like, it's a little awkward every now and then, but thankfully I think like having had just like financial safety through music, they're sort of like, you know what, girl, I'm not going to say too much about it. 'Cause
Yeah,
if
you're making money.
If you're making money, like, it's
You got the
okay.
bag.
What can you do? But yeah, very awkward. Very, like, I know, I would say that my parents probably don't really like my music at all. You know what I mean? But that's okay. That's all right.
Hey, that's okay. You're making it. And I'm sure they're really proud of you for that.
Yes.
But yeah, I was kind of curious because you're like, yeah, I grew up in the church. I feel like there's there's a discrepancy there for like what's getting put out now, and maybe they don't get all the references anyway. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly. Yeah, it probably.
Robin
goes hand in hand.
Robin sent me your album, and I was like, seeing the title Blotter Baby, I was like, I think she likes psychedelics.
And I was like, really?
Like that.
Yeah, Robin was so cute. Like, wait, what makes you say that? And I was like, I don't want to seem like that guy, but Blotter Baby.
How has that influenced your art? Because I do feel like that's a huge aspect. Also to your like social media content, like you have like this really trippy content where it's like really heavily edited and it's supposed to give that like psychedelic experience.
Yeah.
When you're writing music, like were you in those states of being creating this music, or is it like you're just kind of like remembering that and that's kind of influencing the sound?
Basically, do you ever trip mushrooms and write music?
But I have tried one time while tripping to make something, and it wasn't with my producer, but it was with someone else, and we were like sitting down and we just like looked at each other and we were like, this is a nightmare. This is like horrible and we should just not be doing this. Let's just keep listening to music and goofing around. What are we doing? So no, I've never done that. But definitely a lot of remembering and referencing, and especially just, I don't know, like what psychedelics have been like for you guys, but music is insane. It's like, to me, the highlight of the whole experience. So just being able to refer to so many like dynamics and just like production based things and just being like, dude, this moment is so powerful, and referring to those experiences in other songs. So yeah.
Like translating it through art is really cool. But you also have a lot of songs on the album too that kind of reference, they're also kind of love songs. Like the Girls Just Want to Have Sex. I've been playing that non-stop. It's so good. I also feel like we're in an era of like,
it's such a good song.
it's so good. And we're in the era right now of like lesbian gay pop. And so like that is just relevant as hell right now. And it's so good. 10 out of 10. You all need to check out that song. I'm obsessed with it. You have a lot of songs that are like navigating relationships. A lot of it also seems kind of like self-realization stuff. Is there, aside from like a psychedelic theme, like is there sort of a theme in the music or a journey that went into it?
100%. I mean, I wouldn't say it was as concise as like a proper, this is a messaging, but yeah, it was the first time that like, I think the songwriting became actively like diaristic in that sense. Is that a word?
I don't know, but I love that you just used it. And I was like, diaristic.
I'm not gonna lie, I heard diarrhea.
Me
No,
too.
me
I was like scared. I was like a little scared that that's how, but like very like it's like
We
very
totally
like
get what you mean though.
exactly.
No, I was like, I don't know if that's a word, but it's either that or diarrhea. And either way, I'm here for it.
Like just like very diary based, like actually pulling from real life, in a way that was very like, I don't know, like vulnerable, which was really cool. And that was fun. And it's about the same relationship too, which is awesome to be able to express that. But yeah.
One other thing is that Brian sent me an article earlier that was released about you, that talked about that like you went on tour with Rebecca Black at one point.
Oh my god.
Wait, that's
That's
so
so sick.
cool.
It was, everything I have ever learned about being a pop star, I've learned from Rebecca Black.
Really?
She is
That's so sick.
an icon, a legend, and an amazing human being.
Wow.
And I feel also so lucky to have gone on tour with her. It was, oh my god, it was incredible. Yeah, she's an icon.
How do your live shows go? Do you play with like a full band or?
I play with usually like a 3-piece, including myself. So it's been a little different here and there, but always a guitarist. And then either like on the Rebecca Black tour, I had a bassist. Her name's Tawny. She's amazing. She goes by Legwork. And then on other runs, like with Still Woozy and Coin, we had like a keys player, and then like someone who switched, Ben, who is a mutual friend of all of ours, would play keys and acoustic, and we had a lead guitarist. Yeah, so that's usually our
Nice.
setup.
Nice. Oh, did you also open for Still Woozy?
Yes.
Oh my god, I love Still Woozy. You know, I was actually going to say to you before, I kind of felt like some of your music can be a little Still Woozy-esque.
Totally.
Yeah,
His
I love
imprint
him.
on the culture is so strong and so present. But they were incredible. Like of the tours I've been on, Coin, Still Woozy, and Rebecca Black, each of them have just been so special and have treated us so well and taught us so much. And like, yeah, we've been really, really lucky.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Wow, I feel like your career just like kicked off like so hard, which is fantastic and so deserved. Your music is amazing. And also like back to your producer, like the production quality of her music is so high.
It's
like it just feels really full and really high quality. So like he kills it.
I feel like so lucky. I feel like I just said I'm lucky and grateful for the last 20 minutes, and I'm so sorry, but it's so true.
If that's how you feel, that's how you feel.
No,
We
that's
we
a
love
wonderful thing
hear
to
it.
feel.
It is. It is.
There's two other things I want to ask you. One, you were just featured on like a Steve Aoki song.
Yes.
How did that come about?
That one, I have no idea how that happened at all. Yeah, no clue. But that was just like,
Did you meet him?
Yes.
That's so cool.
was
I love
so
Steve
awesome.
Aoki.
We like spent a day together in Vegas, like shooting content, and then we like went back to his house, and I got to jump on his trampoline and like jump from his like crazy like I don't know. It's like he has a huge jump onto the trampoline, and he gave us a tour of his house, which is nuts. He's awesome, super nice. Yeah, crazy.
Oh my God, I love Steve Aoki. So Brian and I met in Miami. We went to the University of Miami, and
Oh my God, just his
he's there all the
kingdom.
time. Yeah, it's literally his kingdom. He's there all the time. I've seen him probably live, like, I don't even know how many times.
No
His whole thing
way.
is like caking the audience.
Oh, yeah.
Like he brings out like the huge cake and like throws it into the audience. I feel like
Yes.
I've been caked like 5 times.
No way.
Yeah,
You
like
got
they-
caked by Steve Aoki?
yeah, 100%. I've definitely been close enough that I've gotten the cake like all over me. He and also the other kind of hilarious thing about Steve Aoki, I don't know if this is true, so don't
Okay.
quote me on this, but I think his parents own Benihana or something.
Oh yeah, they definitely
They do.
Okay, they do own Benihana because he has his own Benihana-esque restaurant in Miami called Aoki. That's
Oh my God.
literally it's literally exactly like Benihana, but a little bit nicer. And it's like in the mall in Miami. We used to go all the time, and I remember being like, "This is so sick." But yeah, I guess his parents own Benihana.
Yeah, he just what an enigma.
That's so
What a
cool.
person.
That's so cool that you met. And how did like his management or his agents like reach out to you for that, or what happened?
I'm sure it had a lot to do with just like the timing of Dum Dum going viral and there just like being like a general buzz. Like so many features just work like that where it's like, oh, your things are going well. You should just hop on this and we'll just have our whatever. Yeah, so that's probably what happened.
So, with working with like your label and stuff, you also have like a huge following on TikTok and on Instagram, but you don't post like super frequently. Just from like looking at like the timestamps of it. So, is that like a big part of like what you needed, like what you think you need to do as an artist, or like do you feel like you only post when you want to, or like do you and this is like another part to add on to the question, but like does the label also mandate how much you post?
Definitely not. I mean,
Okay.
if they like, it would probably be their dream scenario if I posted more, 100%. But yeah, the content piece, you just gotta do it. Like to me, I don't see a single path forward right now that doesn't begin on social media. It just, and also just for any other artists out there, like you play the lottery every single time for free. You play the lottery for free every time you post online. And you just never know where that's gonna end up. So it can be taxing. I just am not the type of person to bring out my phone and record something. It's just not like in my nature. But when it's time to like hustle and it's time to work a project, we are out there. We are shooting content because it's just the best and easiest way to get yourself in front of so many people.
Wow, that is an amazing metaphor for it, saying that you're playing the lottery for free.
You just
Whoa, what a great mindset to have about it though, because I think so many people and so many artists we've chatted with like find it to be like really taxing, or it's just like a really tiring thing,
For
or like
sure.
it's a lot of effort to do it. But saying like, hey, you're playing the lottery for free is like you're like, shit.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll gamble. Like
Yeah,
that's a really good
100%.
way to think about it.
And it really stacks on itself. Like the more I don't know, just how the world is right now. Like when you have just a solidified like following online, it just opens more opportunities for like income as well. You know, brand deals are a real thing. Like, I don't know, just like don't shoot yourself in the foot just because it's a little awkward or hard to do content. And I get it, it's annoying, it's weird, and there's like we could talk forever about how it's strange, but like it just is, you play the lottery and sometimes you really hit big and it's awesome. So
What does that mean too, like when you hit big, like just getting, like how is it so helpful that getting 1 million views or getting like thousands of views like helps you? Is it just for purposes of like those people then go stream your music, or is it for the purposes that they go watch your content more?
yeah, I mean, it's all beneficial, whether it's just continuing to build following or get views or it crosses over into streaming. It also just like when you're inside of a label system and they're waiting for just like movement on social, sometimes that's all it takes. It doesn't mean like your song has to be charting, it doesn't, or trending or whatever. They're just looking for proof of concept that people are interested and invested in what you're doing. And that can open so many doors for you inside of a label system.
Wow.
Just being like, yeah, I'm getting a lot of traction on my socials right now. And that opens, oh my God, for touring so much, where it's just like, oh, proof of concept every time, or not every time, but so much of the time when XYZ artist is outputting content, there's great input from, I don't know, fans and just a lot of validation that people are watching and are invested. So yeah, it just can be a good way to advertise yourself internally in the industry. And then obviously when it gets to a point where you can get income from brand deals or creator funds or whatever, that's just like the cherry on top for sure.
Oh, wow. That's it. I didn't realize that was such an indicator to labels giving you like attention and like helping you move forward. It makes a lot of sense though, as like a proof of concept thing, because just like they just want to know that it's going to work. And the easiest way to tell if something's going to work, if it's honestly like democratic, kind of like TikTok. I mean, no one understands how the algorithm works, but like in theory, it is based on traction. So like if it's like someone watches it and they like it, then it just grows and builds 100%. That momentum. Okay, cool. I think like we can use some of this time to do what Brian and I like to call silly question.
Wow, that's so exciting.
Oh my gosh, we need to come up with a better name for that segment. But it's just supposed to be like
perfect name. It's the perfect name.
Yeah, it's just we want to ask you like some sort of fun stuff. So the first one I'm gonna ask is, and this one can really go back and forth with people about if it lands or not, is like, but can you like do any accents?
Is it okay? Since being in Germany, the German accent has a grip on me that I like can't.
Oh, good.
Even
good. We want to know.
Like walking around, I just couldn't stop, and now I'm probably too embarrassed to maybe do it. But I love a German accent.
You love the accent?
Love a German accent. Oh my god, never change. German accent, never change.
Brian, are you gonna do it?
So like, tell us what's your favorite song on the album that you made. On Blotter Baby.
So like I was at the clubs the other night and like I just love it. It's like amazing. It's so good.
I instantly saw a really skinny cigarette in your hand as you were.
I just couldn't stop dancing.
I just couldn't stop. It's just until like 6 a.m. or something. I don't know.
I can't even do it. I'm so bad at that accent.
Come on, Robin. We all put ourselves out there. You gotta do yours.
I honestly don't feel like I've like. The only time I've been to Germany twice now, but one of the times was with Brian in Berlin.
Oh my god, amazing.
Oh my god, we had a great time.
That was
we definitely stayed out way too late. We went to some weird clubs. We went to that like
Kit Kat.
No, I don't think we went to Kit Kat. We went to one that was like a circus club. It was like total circus themed.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh my god, that one was like borderline creepy. It was
we kind of fucked up though. Like we did not. That was like. I mean, we had fun, but I feel like we did not see the best of the best.
No, we went to really sketchy spots.
No,
we went to really sketchy spots.
Oh my god.
We also like did this thing where we were like, okay, cool, we're meeting like an hour. Like we were both flying into Berlin like an hour apart.
God.
And I wait for Robin in the airport, and she lands, and she's like, "Hey, I'm here." And I was like, okay, where are you? Oh, I'm in terminal A, 3A, whatever it is. And I'm like, okay, I'll meet you there. I'm in 3A. I don't see you. She's like, well, I'm in 3A. I don't see you. And we start like fighting on the phone because we can't find each other for like 45 minutes. We're like, I like can't believe how like incapable I think Robin is in the moment.
We also hadn't traveled together yet. Like this is our introduction to like traveling together.
And that can be make or break.
Oh, totally make or break.
I
thought he was such an idiot. I was like, dude, it's literally an airport. Airports are made for idiots. Like, how can you not find me? I'm at the newsstand. He goes, I'm at the newsstand. I was like, no, I'm at the newsstand.
Only to find out after like 45 minutes of arguing that we were at different airports.
No!
Berlin has 2 airports. Berlin has 2 airports, and I literally figured it out because I showed a map. Like Brian sent me the map at the airport, and I showed it to a flight attendant who was out, and I was like, "Can you please help me? Like, I can't figure out this map." I was like, "This map doesn't look like this airport," and she's like, "That's because it's not this airport. Like, your friend's at the other airport." And I was like, "You idiot!" And so we like had killed like an hour trying to find each other in the airport, and then we just like met at the hostel.
That's incredible.
I will say though, I think this is what happened though. Like as soon as we figured it out, it was just pretty hilarious. Like immediately.
Yeah. Immediately funny.
Yeah, it totally was. We were like, okay, this is fine. And then the rest of our travel was like, it was like pretty seamless. The moral of the story is like, I let Brian navigate because I am actually not that great at navigating. But we travel pretty well together. We have a good time.
That's amazing.
We make a good team.
I'm like more on the navigator energy. Like I've got the plan. I've got the Google Cal ready to go.
You got that dog in you.
You got the dog.
That's that Virgo in me,
Well, I feel like that we divide and conquer because I'm the one with the plan. I'm like, we're gonna go check out these things, but he's gonna get us there.
I love that.
He's gonna get
Yeah.
he's gonna figure out how to get us there.
Dynamic
And Robin
duo.
is big plan energy, and I'm big go with the flow energy, and we
Perfect.
kind of like meet in this nice middle ground.
Yeah,
that's
yeah, it
so
works out well for us. Occasionally, I'll undermine Brian's navigating, and I'll go, "Are you sure you're going the right way?" And he'll be
Oh
like,
my God,
"He's like,
fucking
you're
hate when
literally
you do that.
never allowed to ask me this."
I hate it. You do that every fucking time you come to New York. Too.
I do it to him in New York too. I'll do it
my
in
own
Bushwick.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
in my
Are you
own
sure?
fucking
I'll do it in
neighborhood.
Bushwick and be like, "Are you sure we're going back to your house right now?" And he's like, "I swear to God."
Are you sure we're going to elsewhere right now? Yes. It's my favorite venue.
So, what's the most like off-brand thing about you? And this is in the context of like people have been watching this for an hour. They're getting like a sense of your image. Also, they can look at your album. They get your vibe. Like, what would you say is the most off-brand thing about you?
Off-brand. Ooh, because now I'm like, I don't know how it just came across at all. Because I always get so anxious and shy and nervous when I'm talking.
Oh my God, no! I think you come across amazingly. So that was not the vibe at all. Like you're fantastic.
An off-brand thing about me. I really, really love The Challenge on MTV. I'm a religious The Challenge watcher.
What is the challenge? I think I know what this is.
It's incredible. They take basically the concept of every show, like Survivor, Big Brother, just like Love Island. Okay, here's the crazy thing. They take the concepts of those shows and blend them into one, but they also take cast members from every major reality show and put them
Oh, that's big.
in a house.
Whoa.
One, they can drink. They get messy, sloppy drunk, and it's
Oh my God, they
incredible.
never get to drink on shows like that.
It like makes the whole show for me that they get so sloppy, and then they put them in these crazy physical challenges and like Survivor style, like they're jumping out of a helicopter and then they have to like paraglide to like whatever.
And they're coming from like The Bachelor, right? Like it's not even like
Exactly.
physical challenge shows.
Exactly.
That's so funny.
And oh my God, I am obsessed. I have watched nearly every single season of the challenge. It's really awesome.
Okay, I should watch it. I only like reality TV if I'm like watching it with friends.
Yes.
I won't like put it on like by myself. But that sounds like a really good one to binge with friends.
Yeah, in our house, we have had so many different phases with different friends who will watch a whole season with us, and just like, it's amazing. Ugh, 10 out of 10 recommend.
Okay, Brian, let's put that
I've
on the
never
list.
watched it.
Let's put that on the list because the last time you and I watched reality TV, we watched
The Tampa
God.
Bay Lesbians.
yeah, we watched Tampa Bay Lesbians. We did, but we also watched like the Twin Show, which was like when they have you
the
heard of this
twin
one?
dating.
Where they
That was
separate twins
horrible.
into different houses, and they're like helping these twins find love because I guess statistically speaking, like identical twins have the hardest time finding love because they have like a codependency on each other, and they find so much fulfillment in their like twindomship. I don't know if that's even a word. And so they separate them into houses to like find love, and they like and they
It's
also
so
do all
fucking
I mean this
weird.
is all like weird testing where they're like, are they gonna fall in love with the same like identical twin? Like do they like gravitate to the same people? Most of the time they don't. Like that didn't really happen in this. But that was the wildest.
That's
That was
incredible.
like just fucking weird.
It was so
have You guys
weird.
have you guys heard of the one called like MILF Manor?
Oh, yes,
No?
absolutely, yes.
Dude, that's this one. Did you watch it? Did you watch it?
I've never seen it, but that's amazing.
I watched so many of the clips on YouTube. It's basically like a mom and son duo go to this mansion and with other mom and son duos
son
and
is
the moms and sons date like
Oh!
different moms and sons. It's like it's absurd. Like it's got to be the worst one I've ever seen.
I'm just annoyed that like I'm not on the brainstorming team. Like I could come up with weird concepts.
I love that.
Like it'd be so fun to do that.
So fun.
Brian, do you have any other questions?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, I think we can kind of wrap things up. Mazie, thank you so much for coming on Vibing This. You're an absolute joy to chat with. Your music is incredible. Where should people check you out?
Ooh, you can find me definitely on the internet, hanging out there. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music. I'm anywhere you could think to look up Mazie, I'm probably there.
And is there anything, when do you think you'll be releasing your music? Like 2025?
Yes, I probably will have to release something in 2025. It's probably time. So yeah, sometime then.
Okay, fantastic. People be on the lookout. All right, well, thank you so much, everyone. Bye.
Bye, Mazie. Thanks.
Thank you.